What is going on, beautiful people? It's your boy Blue and welcome back to Train Sim World. Today we are back in San Bernardino, California, scheduled to run the oil train with the BNSF SD70 through the Cajon Pass, but this time in the snow. So I brought twice as much power. Let's go. All right, we are in San Bernardino, and can you believe there's freaking snow everywhere? It's hard to believe. Honestly, when I first got this route, I saw that snow was a possibility. I was like, why? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't snow in this part of California. But I was wrong. And recently, in real life, it did actually snow. And there's some great rail fanning videos and shots online I definitely recommend you check out. But yes, we're in the snow through the Cajon Pass today. And we have six locomotives in the front and 4 in the back with buffer cars and an oil train, a total of a 90 unit consist. This is gonna be crazy. Hopefully it'll help us get up to the Cajon Pass with some decent speed. But yeah, we're in a SD70 today, which is right up here up front. Let's go ahead and board our train. There we go. And you can actually see off in the distance, it looks like there's another train out there. So we'll go up in the front of the cab. We got our radio scanner turned on. We'll hop in here and just make sure everything is set up from the last journey. So make sure that the banking comp is indeed on. Then we'll go and see that the generator, engine run, and fuel pumps are all on, as well as you can see that our brakes are set to lead and cut in. So that is all good. There is a length counter button. I don't know if it actually works, but we will turn up the brightness of these screens because they're pretty dark here with all the whiteout going outside. So that's all good. Let's go and get our lights on. I am using the rail driver today. I do not have the camera on it, but you guys have seen it before. If you want to see my review on the rail driver, that is on the channel. So let's go ahead and insert the reverser handle and then put that into forward, just like that. Easy enough. And you can see our brakes. I mean, wow. This last crew did not give us any slack. So let's go ahead and fully release that automatic brake. We'll start to see that equalizer reservoir going up and that brake pipe going up as well. Or is it down? Yeah, up, down, whichever. You guys get the point. And once these are both up to around 90, 80, we should be okay to leave. Right now, we are going to have to wait. We'll have to wait a little bit until the brakes fully release, and that is all right. Other than that, everything else looks good. Lights are good. That's good. Everything in the back is good. We're going to open these windows up just for the heck of it, and I'll come right back when our brakes are fully released. Just gonna go do a quick walk around. So if you haven't seen it before, this, as I said, is the SD70. This is actually the Sherman Hill SD70 that they brought over to the Cajon Pass. And it's only slightly different than the train you're used to seeing. Now, if you're not really familiar with these American freight trains, it may look like the exact same train. Matter of fact, perfect way to look at it is this right here. So the second and third train are different. This is a SD70, and this one over there is a AC44C4. So just off the top, you can see that the fuel tank down the bottom is a bit different. You can see that fuel tank kind of like has a double tank. It's kind of slanted. This one's just basically normal. They both have lights on the front. That back, this little piece right here, that little hood thing is a bit different. So I mean, I'm sure there's tons of differences, and I'm sure you guys in chat are probably much more experts than I am. Because to be honest with you, personally, if I were to see two of these in person in real life, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That's just me. You know, I'm not knowledgeable enough on the tiny differences between different freight locomotives just yet. But eventually, I'll get there. So, but yeah, they're different. So that is part of one of the recent locomotive packs that came out. So you can get that added to Cajon Pass. Now, the differences between this and the one on Sherman Hill are slightly different too. Again, the one on Sherman Hill is Union Pacific. This one's BNSF. Plus, I think they changed a few other things, but I'm not going to go into all that. Our brakes are still releasing, and once it's done, we'll start moving on. All right, brakes are released in the front and pretty much released in the back. Still says 70. That should be good. So let's go ahead and again, reverser is in forward. Brakes fully released and start giving it some throttle. I'm going to start off with notch 1. There it is, notch 1 on the power throttle handle, and we should start seeing the tractive effort climbing up. Once that kind of neutralizes, or not neutralized, once that kind of stops climbing, we'll add another notch. I'm thinking we might need notch 2 or 3 to get us up this hill. Still standing, or I should say sitting on the independent brake so we don't roll backwards. You know, you want to make sure you have the independent brake on when doing a hill start so we don't roll back. But we're going to do our best here. It's not that bad, 1.2%, but we are, you know, a bit heavy, I guess you could say. It says right here we're about 5,585 feet long. I think that's what that says. All right, let's go. So it stopped at 16. Let's go notch 2. Again, you kind of want to do this so you don't break the train apart. You don't want to put too much effort at once, or you know, you'll decouple or break a coupler. So it's climbing up. So let's try notch 2. We'll start slowly bringing off the independent brake. So you can see that now as I'm rolling the independent brake back. I am using the rail driver again on that axis. That way I don't have to go look at the handle itself, but still rolling it back, rolling it back. We're still not seeing any change. Here, so we go notch 3. Still about 22% of the independent brake is applied. You can see now the tractive effort is climbing, and we are we moving? Woohoo, baby, we are moving. And add a little bit of sand too, just to make sure we do not spin those wheels. And trust me, I've actually tried this multiple times now, and this is like take 4, I think, of this. Now that we've gotten some speed going, let's go ahead and fully release that independent brake. Still with the sand. There is I think it's probably, what's that, 10 miles an hour? I don't know, it's pretty slow getting out of here, so we'll drop back down to throttle 2. We don't want to go too fast if we're rolling out of San Bernardino. Nice, I'm pretty happy about that. Let's go. It's a bit of a slow crawl coming out of San Bernardino. You see right here on our right, that's I believe the Amtrak or Metrolink station there. It would be pretty cool to actually put that station to use with some Amtrak trains or something like that. This area does kind of branch off to a completely different route that Amtrak uses quite often. Amtrak does, I believe, run up and down the Cajon Pass. So it would be cool. I personally really do enjoy the Cajon Pass. It's actually turned out to be one of, if not maybe the my favorite freight route for Train Sim World. And so it would be nice to kind of mix in some passenger to it. I mean, I've always said it, one of my favorite things in a good route for Train Sim World is a diverse route where you have freight and passenger on the same line. It makes it even more busy. It's always nice. You know, you see it a lot in the German routes where you'll see a lot of high speed and local passenger traffic as well as freight traffic throughout the day. And it would be nice to have an American route that's kind of to that same aspect where you have busy passenger services, but then you also have a decent amount of freight services running up and down the route as well. So we got a green light up ahead. We're doing about 14, which might be a little bit too fast for this section of track. We're waiting to clear the switch behind us. Now, this is where it'd be really helpful for that length counter to actually work, and it doesn't seem to do anything. As much as I button smash it, I don't really get anything. Let's check our speed here. All right, we're good. We actually speed up now. Now, if you've never run Cajon Pass before, you may not know this, but from here on out, right now, we're basically even gradient. I believe it's going to change uphill. I think it's about, was it up to 2% or so, all the way up through the Cajon Pass, and it's not going to let out. So we really want to gain speed as much as you can in this section of the track right after you leave getting out of San Bernardino Yard. Now the speed limit kind of drops, it kind of restricts you at like 30 miles per hour. I kind of tell people, hey, listen, take the hit in your score your action points, and just speed through here. Get as fast as you can, because once you start going up that hill, maintaining 30 miles per hour is gonna be very hard, because especially as heavy as you are, you're gonna be struggling to maintain it. There it is. So now we're already jumping into the climb. The gradient is now climbing up 0.6, 0.9, and we're right at 30 miles an hour. Now again, because we have 6 locomotives in the front and 4 in the back, I'm hoping that we're actually going to be able to make the speed limit throughout the route. In the past, we haven't actually been able to make the speed limit. We've been like half the speed limit or whatever, at least going uphill. I know that a lot of you guys, I've seen in the comments, going downhill in the Cajon Pass, been doing about 175. So congrats on that, beating the speed record. But not even on purpose, like you guys saying, you got full brakes on, just sliding down the rails through the Cajon Pass. That's why I made that tutorial video on how to get down. So hopefully I can follow my own rules. So right now we're restricted at 30 miles per hour, but this is the section I'm talking about. If you're not using the mod that I'm using that gives me more locomotives on the front and the back, I recommend at this point you go ahead, you get as high as you can. Go notch 8, go as fast as you can, gain as much speed as you can, because the track speed is going to change about 5,000 feet to 55 miles per hour. Right now it's 30, mainly because the back of our train is still going through the yard, and that is why. But I recommend screw the speed limit. Oh, we got a train up ahead. Do we have to stop for this guy? We have a green light, but I think there might be a gap right there. But yeah, speed through here is what I recommend. So that way you can get as fast as you can through the 55 miles per hour section. And when it gets even steeper, getting to the actual Cajon Pass, you actually have some momentum to get you through the hill. Or else it'll take you like 2 hours just to get to the peak. So, all right, let's continue uphill. And we have a train up ahead.
Detector at mile 462.0. Main track is back in service.
Yeah, that red light behind us that other train was stopped at, that's the one that always gets me. And I'm sure it gets you as well when going down the Cajon Pass towards San Bernardino. You have all this downhill section, you come off that real steep Cajon Pass peak. You get down here, it's like 2% gradient or so going downhill. If you don't have your speed in control already, you're not gonna get it. And then that red light sneaks up out of nowhere. Next thing you know, you failed the scenario. It's happened to me many, many times, so I know it's happened to other people too, but nice. We're getting to move on. We're doing pretty good. All right, so as I said earlier, the speed limit is now 55 miles per hour. I have my throttle set to notch 8, so we're running 8 right now. We're completely maxed out on our throttle, on our RPMs, and we're doing about 38 miles per hour, and I was correct. See, I actually remember this route a little bit. Never mind. Now 2.2% uphill gradient going in this direction towards Barstow, towards the Cajon Pass, and as you can see, our speed is going down. This is what I meant. This is where I was like, yeah, it's better if you just kind of, as long as that light is green that you're coming up on, maybe get some speed up. Now, that's not how you should do it in real life. In real life, you got to do it right. You know what I mean? But in the sim, I would say, you'll thank yourself when it comes to time. It'll cut your time down by not having to go so slow. So we'll see how fast we end up going. We're doing 36. We're losing speed pretty consistently. We're maxed out on our speed, or our throttle. There's not much else I can do at this point, but just hold it down at throttle notch 8. Until we get to the top of the hill, and then we'll go down and we'll jump into dynamic brakes. That's pretty much it. It's basic. I say basic, but I'm hoping that we can keep some good speed going up the hill. So I definitely don't want to do less than 30 if I don't have to, but we'll see. But as always, if you guys are new to the channel, new to watching my train sim videos, as you may or may not know, we do a lot of rail fanning, a lot of train spotting. So I'll come in, I'll check in and kind of give you guys updates on how the drive is going, on any issues or challenges that I'm dealing with. But other than that, to be honest with you, we're gonna go out and we're gonna enjoy some nice drive-by views, some railroad crossings, some views of the Cajon Pass, of the mountains, of the train. Train Sim World 3 is a beautiful game, it really is. The new lighting and everything just makes it really pop, and this is my personal first time running it in the snow, so there's a challenge there. The challenge of getting the train going, getting the train up the hill in the snow. If we get to a point where, you know, we're getting so slow that at notch 8 we're spinning the wheels, then we have a real problem, and that could definitely happen. As you can see up ahead, we have another green signal. One thing I don't think I've done yet on this route that I need to do is I need to do the no HUD challenge, where you turn the HUD off like this and you just go by, you know, whatever you can see in the cab here. So we'll basically have to go by these screens down here, which gives you a little bit of information, not a whole lot, but it gives you enough. And that would be pretty fun. I think I probably could even now, but usually I like to kind of practice that, you know, make some notes, so some different points and stuff to know. I believe we do have to stop in Victorville on the way to Barstow, about 28 miles from now. And my guess is gonna probably take us anywhere from an hour to hour and a half just to get to Victorville, and then maybe another half hour to an hour to get to Barstow. But we'll see. Depends on how fast we can go. Right now we're going pretty slow, 30 miles per hour, which means we're not gonna get there too quick. So as long as we don't spin the wheels, that's my biggest concern. I think we should be just fine climbing up the hill. But yeah, let's enjoy the view, enjoy the ride, and just chill out. All right, we're making our way up the hill now. We are now in the Cajon Pass, and this is also the more scenic part of our route today. As you can see, you got some kind of like partially covered rocks. That actually looks really solid, to be honest with you, in the snow. I was kind of concerned about the snow. Matter of fact, look at that. You can kind of almost see the slope there of how high we're climbing up. Speed limit has dropped down to about 35 miles per hour. We're still in notch 8 though. If I turn our HUD back on, you'll see we are on a 2% gradient. Still, there's the back of our train there on our right. Isn't that cool? That's so cool. I love seeing the back of the train. That is, you gotta get a drive by that. And that is pretty cool as well. Down on our right side, you can see there's another train passing below, going down the hill. So that's actually the track that you take when you go uphill. There's a different section that you take going uphill that you do going downhill. And you can hear a detect detector in the background as well on the radio. That's not for us though. Train Sim World does not have defect detectors. But that's what it sounds like. But pretty cool. That's what I said. I don't often go this direction from San Bernardino, so it's pretty cool to see the back of our train there and that tight right turn. That was really cool. I've got another green signal, and again, we're still doing about 28 miles per hour, so not too bad. Speed limit is 35, so we're just below that. I mean, honestly, if we were any closer, I might be a little concerned. But I guess we're all right. We're all right. We're still notch 8. We haven't spinned our wheels. The gradient is only 2.2%. The positive of heading towards Barstow from San Bernardino on the Cajon Pass is that we actually have a better slope. When you go towards San Bernardino, you get that real steep descent. Now, when you're going the opposite direction, because we're on this other track, it gives us a different route that gives us a much shallower climb. There is 30 miles an hour coming up now. We are below that, so we're okay. 2.2% as we hit the turn. And it'd be nice if there's a train going above us, but that's all right.
Main 1, you have a defect. Dragging equipment. Axle 27. Repeat.
That is correct. 5086 West, main track 3. Over.
All right, we're still climbing up the hill. It's actually starting to level off, as you can see there, 0.6%. You can still see the back of our train. That there on the left side of your screen is the route you would take if you were going downhill. You see how much steeper that is than the way we went? We pretty much stayed about 2.2% all the way up here. And going down that way is like double, so it's pretty crazy. But I gotta say, this train did a really good job getting us this far. We got a speed limit changing up ahead about 2,000 feet to 50 miles per hour. I'm gonna come down on throttle a little bit, as now we're not climbing as steep anymore, so we don't need as much power. But we do want to keep that momentum. We don't want to slow down all the way. We have a little bit more uphill to go, and then we should crest the top of the mountain or the hill, and we'll start going downhill from there. And that's where it gets interesting. That's where it gets more difficult. The easy part is going uphill. As long as we keep the wheels straight, or I should say not slipping, we're fine, which we did. We didn't have any slipping at all. So now it comes down to managing our power, our momentum, our speed going down the hill. So far it's been green lights all the way. Again, we have to make a stop in Victorville on our way to Barstow. There it is, a sign, freight 50 miles per hour. So we have to wait for the back of our train to reach that sign before we can actually do 50. But it's showing right now we can do 35 or 40 right now. So we'll go ahead and continue. And we'll stay on the throttle a little bit until the back of our train. So right there around where that light is where you can actually see, if I look right here, you can kind of see where the back of the train, not the back, but like you can kind of see where the hill is. It's just barely, it's just a slight, it's kind of hard to see in this view, but we are now going downhill. So we'll go ahead and go off the throttle a little bit. This is the important part, where we start to transition from uphill to downhill. It's very tricky, but very important. If you screw it up, if you carry too much speed over the hill, then you will have a runaway train going down the hill because you're going too fast. And if you have not enough speed, then I think the worst part is you're just going too slow. But going slow is not a bad idea, but if you go too slow, of course, with a long train like ours, then you'll have an issue where you may have trouble getting the back of your train over the hill. So it's kind of like a seesaw, you know what I'm saying? So we're turning the corner, and the way we'll know if the train is kind of over it is really going to be based on how much speed we're gaining. So we're going to be watching our speed go up or go down. We'll do our best to try to maintain like 35 or so, which we're already going faster than. So what I can do right now, I think we have enough momentum to go ahead and put it in idle, put it in setup for the dynamic brake, and then just kind of wait it out. If we see our speed climbing up, then obviously we can add dynamic brake in. Going this direction towards Barstow is not as dramatic as it is going to San Bernardino. So you can kind of, you can, and I don't think we're gonna need any air brakes. We should be able to go down just with the dynamic braking. And then also, this is also another time where having a distance counter would be helpful, because we could turn a distance counter on in the train when we pass the peak, and then we can actually see a countdown of how many feet we have to go until the back of our train reaches that point. And if we know we're about 5,000 feet long, that means we get around 2,500, 3,000, we're about halfway through the consist. And we can start, making adjustments as we need to. So we're at 1.5% now. I am actually going to go ahead and start adding dynamic brake set 1 and 2. As we know, the faster you get, the less effective the dynamic brake gets. So, I would like to hang out at 50 miles an hour, but I also want to stay in control of the train. So we're about 16 miles away now from Victorville. Again, that's not our final destination for our route. We'll be continuing staying on this train all the way to Barstow. Yep, so speed is coming up. So now we're gonna go dynamic brake 3, 4. Let's make it a goal to stay around 45 miles an hour. Let's continue dynamic brake 5. Watching the train descend down the hill. There's 43 miles per hour. Another stutter. They really need to fix that, seriously. I don't know what's causing that stutter. We're going 43 miles an hour. There's no reason we should be getting stuttering. Dynamic brake 6. Brake 6. And we're still speeding up. All right, let's go full. Brake 8. And see if that's enough. If it's not enough, then we will have to add air brakes. We shouldn't, though. We really shouldn't. All right, back into the cab. So it looks like dynamic brake 8 has set us right at 44 miles per hour. Now that might not be enough. We don't have any more dynamic brakes to add, which is not good. All right, we are slowing down now, which is good. It's weird. It's 43 here and 44 there. So we might have to add minimum braking if we need to. Because again, we do have to remember, even though the whole train is over the crest of the hill, that's a red signal. That's not for us though. Even though the entire train is over the hill, the entire train is not on the steepest part of this descent, which has been about 1.6%. So we'll hang out around dynamic brake 8s and add automatic or add air brake as needed, but we might be just okay. We'll just hang out. We'll hang out right here. If we need to add it, we'll add it. We know what to do. Looks like we're getting a yellow signal ahead. It's a yellow over red, and the yellow is flashing, so that's a diverging approach medium signal. We need to approach the next signal at 35 or less. So we're gonna do just that. I don't know what the traffic looks like ahead of us. There has been a decent amount of traffic going up and down the route today, which is nice. I like it when it kind of feels, you know, I always say this, alive. Being out here by yourself is just no fun in that. So if there's some traffic ahead, that's cool. If we have to slow down or even stop, then that is cool. We just have to deal with that. That may not be the easiest thing to do going downhill right now, stopping, but if we have to do, that's what we have to do. So that last signal was not telling us to stop, but to, you know, at the next signal, to make sure we approach that signal at 35 miles per hour or less. See right there, speed limit is 35 coming up, not just yet. The slanted sign there means that 35 is the next speed limit that's approaching, which is nice. So if we were to do this route with no HUD, without all the helpers that Train Sim World gives you, we would be able to drive this route and read the signs and understand, hey, this is the speed limit that I'm supposed to be at. So we'll stay below 35, 1.2% downhill at the moment as we are still approaching Victorville, only 4 miles out. After we just passed that little crossing there, and we'll stay in the dynamic. Right now we're riding on the dynamic brakes. And I think maybe the reason that we got that yellow is because we're probably gonna get a red signal when we get into Victorville, because again, we are expecting to make a stop there. So they might just give us a red signal. We'll see. Oh wow, and look at that, on our left, on the other track, there is another train. That's the back of it. There's the EOT, and we've slowed down quite a bit, down about 27. Wasn't sure what was coming up. We have another yellow up ahead. It looks like another yellow over red, which again is another approaching medium sign. This looks like this is a mixed freight manifest train, maybe a local train coming in from one of the local customer yards. Yeah, so yellow over red there, and we should stay on this track. If we were going to be going to the other track, the red light will be on top and the yellow will be on the bottom. So yeah, that's definitely a local train there with the SD40. 35 miles an hour is now what we're required to do. Nothing above that. We can actually probably put the dynamic brakes back into like either 1 or setup, because we're going nice and slow now, and the gradient has leveled off just a little bit, and we're coming through one of my favorite parts of the route, the little, I'm not sure what you call this, it's like a couple rock formations right before you get into Victorville, right here. So once we get through there, we'll see the city of Victorville, and we'll be stopping shortly after. All right, speed's looking good, and we're coming up on one of the few actual railroad crossings here, as we also pass by the Victorville Amtrak station. So I'm going to horn here, and it's very quiet. I know I haven't really said much about the sounds of this train because I am not impressed at all about the sounds on this train. There we go. We're now not clear of the crossing, but now through the crossing of the lead locomotive. But yeah, the sounds are not great, to be honest, and they were never great. This is basically a port over from Sherman Hill. They made a few changes to the 3D model, you know, slight differences that are from the SD70 of Union Pacific and the one with BNSF. Other than that, the sound pack has not been changed. Now, I had a sound pack on Sherman Hill for this train. I don't know that I can get it back over to this route. But I would like to have it back because it sounded really a lot better. I'll say that. But all right, coming around the corner now, just about 2,500 feet away from our stopping point. We actually got a little bit of snow here on the windshield. The weather's definitely been changing. We have a SD40 behind us, parked on the right, mostly probably used for short local jobs out of the Victorville yard. And then we have another train coming up on our left. Turn the wipers on for just a second. What is that? Can you guess what train that is? I think that's AC44. I'm not sure. I'm sure you guys know better than I do. All right, so what we're gonna do to get stopped here is we're gonna start off using a dynamic brake. I got the dynamic brakes now set to notch 8. That is max dynamic braking. And we're gonna get most of the majority of the braking done with the dynamic brake, and then we'll come in with the automatic brake at the end, and then followed by the independent brake, almost like a parking brake in a way. And we'll see if that works for us. So 3,000 feet from the red light, so we have a bit of a buffer zone. That's always good. So we don't have to be extremely precise. But I'm thinking that we'll stop here, take a bit of a break, wait for the snow to pass, and possibly even for the snow to melt. And we will see about continuing our drive down to Barstow. So let's let it kind of get there. I was kind of stopping a bit too much. And bringing dynamic brake out, notch 4, and notch 3. There's 7 miles per hour. Creeping in, very nice. All right, full dynamic braking. Let's get it stopped all the way. It's gonna take us a few hundred feet to get this thing stopped. There's 5 miles per hour. And we're kind of locking it up there. We'll go in minimum application. Is that going to be enough? We might actually stop short. We might actually, and I'm not mad at that. Not sure how the game feels about that.
It's 906. You can't see me, but read my lips here. Get into a track at West Colton and secure and get off the train.
All right, we're stopped, but we're a bit short. I don't know what that radio call is about. That was interesting.
Yes.
I'm gonna see if we can release the brakes a little bit, or maybe just give us a little bit of throttle to get us going forward, just a little bit, just so that we can get just the 44 feet that we need. Come on, let's go.
So rush down here. Let's go.
Somebody's upset. All right, we're rolling off the throttle now. Just need a few more feet, and then we'll probably lock it down with the independent here. That other train has a green light now. He's on the way out. We'll probably have to wait for him to go. But again, we'll sit here, take a nice break. It's been about, I think it took us about 2 hours to get here. No joke, no lie. There we are. We're stopped, I think. Almost. Almost. All right, minimum application on the autos. There we are. All right, break is over. Hold on, wait. Hold on. Hold on a second. All right, one thing that's really underrated on these longer freight runs. Oh, I fell. Hold on. All right, one thing that is underrated on these longer freight runs is taking breaks. These drives can be really long, and you definitely need to take a break. I mean, our first leg there. It took us 2 hours just to get to Victorville. So now we're back in the cab, reverser forward. Everything I think should be set up. As you see out the window now, it is no longer as snowy or snow on the ground, which is nice and good for us. Should be a nice chill drive for the rest of the route. So see, reverser is set to forward. Independent brake can come completely off. We're already pointed towards Barstow and headed downhill, so it shouldn't be much of a difficulty getting this thing going forward. All right, let's go and put throttle to 2. We have the green light up ahead. No trains in sight. And here we go. All right, let's go. We finally get to stretch our legs. I'm going full throttle. Speed limit's up to 55 now. We're doing 45. It means we get to get 10 miles an hour. So we cross another railroad crossing there, as well as another plant there on the right. I can't remember if there's a scenario that allows you to do any switching around at this plant. I think there is. I believe there is, if I remember correctly. I'm not gonna go too fast. We are going downhill. It's basically all downhill from here all the way into Barstow. So we can just kind of get our speed up. One thing that's really cool, and sadly we're not gonna get to see that in this video, but wow, that looks horrible. Once you get past Barstow, the speed limit actually goes up to 75 at one point, specifically for, I believe, for intermodal traffic. I think intermodal traffic and unit trains, which we technically are. We are a unit train. They can go as fast as 75 miles an hour on that stretch of track. It's a lot of straight track. It's wide open, middle of nowhere. So they let the trains open it up and go as fast as they want to out there. Not as fast as they want, but you know, pretty darn fast. So there's another plant there on our right. Has some cars set out there, probably ready to pick up. All right, there it is. Speed limit is now going up to 60 miles per hour pretty soon. We're approaching a yellow signal, which means we're gonna have to start slowing down here. And I am going to go ahead and put on the dynamic brake as we are going downhill about 1%. And speed limit is also dropping down to 30 miles per hour as we are just about to approach Barstow Yard in Barstow, California. See, we're a little bit fast. The speed limit kind of dropped on us there. About 5,000 feet to get slowed down. Train just departing Barstow there on the left. Looks like another long intermodal train. And there's the Barstow Yard on our right. We're still trying to get slowed down. We got dynamic brake all the way up. I'm gonna add some minimum braking because we are gonna have to get slowed down pretty soon here. But yeah, Barstow Yard is a massive yard and it's quite busy. So 1,000 feet, so we are gonna need to slow down even more. So we'll add about 30% braking. We'll again bail out our independent brake there and make sure those dynamic brakes are still kicking in really nicely. And there's the end of that train. A couple of Santa Fe's on the end, which is nice. All right, so 2.3 miles, we have a red signal. We've now driven into the 30 mile per hour zone and we're still a bit fast. So speed is coming down, but it's coming down slow. So we're a little bit over speed, but that's okay. Not gonna worry about it, not gonna overreact on that. There's the back of our train, the back of his train. Don't think we pulling into the receiving yard again. This train is gonna continue all the way to Houston, Texas, my hometown, which is a long ways away from California. That is for sure. All right, there it is. Speed's coming back real nice. Let's go ahead and kill the dynamic brakes completely, and we might even need to come back on that automatic brake because we're gonna get slowed down way too fast. I would like to hang out on the dynamic brakes, not the automatic brakes. So sadly, those brakes can have to start recharging, but we're gonna depend on the dynamic brakes here. So yeah, we're gonna stay on the main line here, and we'll park. We'll do a crew change, and then someone else will come and take this train for its next leg, which I believe is through the Seligman area. So that's the area that I was saying that you get to go as fast as like 75 miles per hour with the intermodal trains, which is pretty cool. So 4,000 feet, still got a ways to go. We'll try to get the whole train here into the yard. Again, we're still going to remain on the main line. Those tracks to our right, I believe, I think that's, yeah, this is all departure yard right here on our right. So these are all freight cars that are ready to go. I think that was, I didn't see a train, a locomotive on the end of that one. So that's probably a bunch of a new train that's been built, just waiting for some power. Once you add some locomotives to the front and the back, that train's ready to go. Not sure if that's a westbound train or eastbound train. And all right, here we are, just 300, less than 300 feet away from our stop marker here. And that behind it is the red light. If we roll past that red light, we do fail the entire service. So we want to make sure we get this thing stopped. So right now I'm putting on the dynamic brakes only as we get slowed down below 5 miles per hour, then adding in a minimum application here to the automatic brake, and then we'll throw on the independent brake and bail that off. And there we are at a complete stop. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Barstow. All right, now that we've made it, we'll allow the crew to take the train for the rest of its journey. I'm gonna go ahead and hop out here and then make our way over to the van and go home for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Total of about 3 hours for this trip. So yeah, definitely a while, but we made it. The oil train has arrived in Barstow, and we'll continue to LA. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought about us driving through the snow. What do you think of the SD70? What do you think of Train Sim World 3? And what do you think of Cajon Pass? Any feedback you have is always welcome. I always appreciate you guys watching these videos and enjoying the content. I hope you are. But until next time, remember you have 3 choices. Give up, give in, give it all. You got peace, love, and God bless you. I'll see you guys next time, next video. I'm out.